Yeah. Hello, everybody. Today I'll be reading a book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon. So, first, I would be trying to read the author's preface so that you will be able to understand why do you need to read this book. Yeah. In every chapter of this book, mention has been made of the money making secret which has made fortunes for more than 500 exceedingly wealthy men whom I have carefully analyzed over a long period of years. The secret was brought to my attention by Andrew Carnegie more than a quarter of century ago. The canny, lovable old Scotsman carelessly to tossed it into my mind when I was but a boy. Then he sat back in his chair with a merry twinkle in his eyes and watched carefully to see if I had brains enough to understand the full significance of what he said to me. When he saw that I had grasped the idea, he asked if I would be willing to spend 20 years or more preparing myself to take it to the world, to men and women who, without the secret, might go through life as failures. I said I would, and Mr. Carnegie's cooperation, I have kept my promise. This book contains the secret after having been put to a practical test by thousands of people in almost every walk of life. It was Mr. Carnegie's idea that the magic formula which gave him a stupendous fortune ought to be placed within the reach of people who do not have time to investigate how men make money, and it was this hope that I might test and demonstrate the soundness of the formula through the experience of men and women in every calling. He believed the formula should be taught in all public schools and colleges and expressed the opinion that if it were properly taught, it would so revolutionize the entire education system that the time spent in school could be reduced to less than half. His experience with Charles M. Schwab and the other young men of Mr. Schwab's type convinced Mr. Carnegie that much of that which is taught in the schools is of no value whatsoever the connection with the business of earnings a living or accumulating riches. He had arrived at this discussion because he had taken into his business one young man after another, many of them with but little schooling, and by coaching them in the use of his formula, developed in them a rare leadership. Moreover, his coaching made fortunes for every one of them who followed his instructions. In the chapter of faith, you will read the astounding story of the organization of United States Steel Corporation as it was conceived and carried out by one of the young men through whom Mr. Carnegie proved that his formula will work for all who are ready for it. The single application of the secret by the young man Charles M. Schwab made him a huge fortune in both money and opportunity. Roughly speaking, the particular application of the formula was worth $600 million. These facts, and they are facts well known to almost everyone who knew Mr. Carnegie, give you a fair idea of what the reading of this book may bring to you, provided you know what it is that you want. Even before I had undergone 20 years of practical testing, the secret was passed on to more than 100,000 men and women who have used it for their personal benefit as Mr. Carnegie planned that they should. Some have made fortunes with it, others have used it successfully in creating harmony in their homes. A clergyman used it so effectively that it brought him an income of upward of $75,000 a year. Arthur Nash, a tailor, used his near bankrupt business as a guinea pig on which to test the formula. The business came to life and made a fortune for its owners. It is still thriving although Mr. Nash has gone. The experiment was so unique that the newspapers and magazines gave it more than $1 million with a laudatory publicity. The secret was passed on to Mr. Austin of Dallas, Texas. He was ready for it, so ready that he gave up his profession and studied law. Did he succeed? That story is told too. I gave the secret of I gave the secret to Jennings the day he graduated from college, and he used it so successfully that he is now serving his third term as a member of Congress with an excellent opportunity to keep on using it until it carries him to the White House. While serving as advertising manager of LaSalle Extension University, when it was little more than a name, I had the privilege of seeing Chaplain, president of university, used the formula so effectively that he has since made LaSalle one of the great extension schools of the country. The secret of which I refer has been mentioned no far than 100 times throughout this book. It has not been directly named, for it seems to work more successfully when it is merely uncovered and left in sight, where those who are ready and searching for it may pick it up. This is why Mr. Carnegie tossed it to me so quietly without giving me its specific name. If you are ready to put it to use, you will recognize this secret at least once in every chapter. I wish I might feel privileged to tell you how you will know if you are ready, but that would deprive you of much of the benefit you will receive when you make the discovery in your own way. While this book was being written, my son, who was then finishing the last year of his college work, picked up the manuscript of the chapter 2, read it, and discovered the secret for himself. He used the information so effectively that he went directly into a responsible position in a beginning salary greater than average man ever earns. His story has been briefly described in chapter 2. When you read it, perhaps you will dismiss any feeling you may have had at the beginning of the book that it promised too much. And two, if you have ever been discouraged, if you have had difficulties to surmount which took the very soul out of you, if you have tried and failed, if you were ever handicapped by illness or physical affliction, this story of my son's discovery and the use of the Carnegie formula may prove to be the oasis in the desert of the lost hope for which you have been searching. This secret was extensively used by President Woodrow Wilson during the World War. It was passed on to every soldier who fought in the war, carefully wrapped in training received before going to the front. President Wilson told me it was a strong factor in raising the funds needed for the war. More than 20 years ago, Honorable Manuel, the resident commissioner of Philippine Islands, was inspired by the secret to gain freedom for his people. He has gained freedom for Philippines and is the first president of the free state. A peculiar thing about this is that those who once acquire it and use it find themselves literally swept on to success with but little effort, and they never again submit to failure. If you doubt this, study the names of those who have used it whenever they have been mentioned. Check the records for yourself and be convinced. There is no such thing as something for nothing. The secret to which I refer cannot be had without a price. Although the secret is far less than its value, it cannot be had at any price. By those who are not intentionally searching for it, it cannot be given away. It cannot be purchased for money for the reason that it comes in two parts. One part is already in possession of those who are ready for it. The secret serves equally well all who are ready for it. Education has nothing to do with it. Long after I was born, the secret had found its way into the possession of Thomas A. Edison, and he used it so intelligently that he became the world's leading inventor, although he had but 3 months of schooling. The secret was passed on to a business associate of Mr. Edison. He used it so effectively that although he was then making only $12,000 a year, he accumulated a great fortune and from being retired from active business while he was still a young man. You will find his story at the beginning of the first chapter. It should convince you that the riches are not beyond your reach, that you can still be what you wish to be. that money, fame, recognition, and happiness can be had by all who are ready and determined to have these blessings. How do I know these things? You should have the answer before you finish this book. You may find it very first chapter or on the last page. While I was performing the 20-year task of research which I had undertaken at Mr. Carnegie's request, I analyzed hundreds of well-known men, many of whom admitted that they had accumulated their vast fortunes through the aid of Mr. Carnegie. These names represent but a small fraction of hundreds of well-known Americans whose achievements financially and otherwise prove that those who understand and apply the Carnegie secret reach high stations in life. I have never known anyone who was inspired to use the secret who did not achieve noteworthy success in his chosen calling. I have never known any person to distinguish himself or to accumulate riches of any consequence without possession of the secret. From these two facts, I draw the conclusion that the secret is more important as a part of knowledge essential for self determination, that any which one receives through what is popularly known as education. What is education anyway? This has been answered in full detail. As far as schooling is concerned, many of these men had very little. John Wanamaker once told me that what little schooling he had, he acquired in very much the same manner as a modern locomotive takes on water by scooping it up as it runs. Henry Ford never reached high school, let alone college. I am not attempting to minimize the value of schooling, but I am trying to express my earnest belief that those who master and apply the secret will reach high stations, accumulate riches, and bargain with life on their own terms, even if their schooling has been meager. Somewhere, as you read the story to which I refer, will jump from the page and stand boldly before you if you are ready for it. When it appears and you will recognize it, whether you receive the sign in the first or the last chapter, stop for a moment when it presents itself and turn down a glass, for that occasion will mark the most important turning point of your life. We pass now to chapter 1 and to the story of my very dear friend who has generously acknowledged having seen the mystic sign and whose business achievements are evidence enough that he turned down a glass. As you read his story and others, remember that they deal with the important problems of life, such as all men experience. The problems arising from one's endeavor to earn a living, to find hope, courage, contentment, and peace of mind, to accumulate riches, and to enjoy freedom of body and spirit. Remember to, as you go through the book, that it deals with facts and not with fiction, its purpose being to convey a greater universal truth through which all who are ready may learn, and not only what to do but also how to do it, and receive as well the needed stimulus to make a start. As a final word of preparation, before you begin the first chapter, may I offer one brief suggestion which may provide a clue which Carnegie's secret may be recognized. It's this: all achievement, all earned riches have their beginning in an idea. If you are ready for the secret, you already possess one half of it, therefore, you will be readily recognize the other half the moment it reaches your mind. The author, Napoleon Hill. Thank you so much for listening.